Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. If Aaron Rodgers signs with Steelers, could Giants then miss out on Russell Wilson, too? The NFL's quarterback carousel kept spinning Monday, on day one of free agency. Sam Darnold left the Vikings for the Seahawks, who had traded Geno Smith to the Raiders. Then Justin Fields left the Steelers for the Jets. So what does it all mean for the quarterback-needy Giants? Well, first of all, let's not lose sight of the reality that this Giants offseason is all about finding their quarterback of the future. And that absolutely is not going to be a free agent acquisition. So no matter what happens in free agency, the Giants could still draft a quarterback at number 3, or higher, on April 24, though the Titans and Browns sitting ahead of them in the draft order presents major issues. In the meantime, the Steelers appear to have the inside track with Rodgers, according to Pro Football Talk. That would eliminate the Giants' fallback plan, after the Matthew Stafford trade hopes fizzled. With Fields gone, the Steelers' situation is much more appealing for Rodgers. The Steelers picked 21st in round 1 this year, so they're surely not going to take a quarterback. And remember, this is a weak quarterback draft. The Giants, even if they sign Rodgers, absolutely could pick a quarterback at number 3, or higher. And the clock would immediately start ticking for that new kid to replace Rodgers. Okay, so let's say Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh. Where, then, might Russell Wilson land, as he leaves the Steelers? Maybe in Minnesota, if ex-Giants starter Daniel Jones decides to join the Colts and compete with Anthony Richardson for the starting job, instead of sticking around with the Vikings to be J.J. McCarthy's backup. At this stage of Jones' career, as he enters year 7 and tries to prove he can still start, it would be foolish for him to stay in Minnesota instead of jumping at the chance to enter a legit competition for a starting job. Jones departing Minnesota for Indianapolis would open the door for Wilson to maybe sign with the Vikings, who have a better overall roster than the Giants. Almost every current NFL team does. Or perhaps Wilson could land with the Titans, if they want to go with him and will leave us in 2025, instead of taking a quarterback at number 1. Though the Giants would lose out on Wilson in this scenario, it also would signal the Titans' willingness to trade back from number 1. And remember, the Giants can only trade up to number 1, probably for Cam Ward, if the Titans feel good enough about their quarterback situation that they're willing to pass on Ward and move down to number 3. After Monday's Darnold and Fields signings, things could really heat up on the free agent quarterback front Tuesday, with a Rodgers decision. If he heads to Pittsburgh, that would leave the Giants looking at another fallback option, Wilson, who also is no sure thing to sign with them, depending on what level of interest he has from the Vikings and Titans. Steelers may have just put the cart before the horse with DK Metcalf trade. The Pittsburgh Steelers made a major move to trade for and extend DK Metcalf, but they may have just put the cart before the horse. The Steelers were searching for an upgrade at wide receiver for a while now. They were clearly trying to pry Brandon Ayuk away from the San Francisco 49ers last offseason, but it just didn't happen. Well, on Sunday, the Steelers found their upgrade at wide receiver, sending a second-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft and giving Metcalf an extension worth $30 million per season. As of now, the Steelers could field one of the more explosive wide receiver duos in the NFL with Metcalf and controversial player George Pickens. This is a good trade until it isn't. On paper, Pittsburgh does seem to have some insane playmakers on offense and could end up being one of the better units in the NFL in 2025, but it's clear that they may have just put the cart before the horse, because who the heck is going to be throwing the ball to them next season? For years now, the Steelers have shown incompetence at the QB position. They seem to be stuck in 2008 with their QB mindset. It's been years since Ben Roethlisberger retired, and this team has done absolutely nothing to make fans think that the front office can actually solve the QB issue. They swung and missed big time on Kenny Pickett and clearly thought they had something brewing with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but none of these three are franchise QBs or showed much in Pittsburgh. The Steelers can load up with playmakers all they want, but without a franchise QB, it'll all be for naught. Who is throwing to the weapons in Pittsburgh in 2025? Aaron Rodgers? Justin Fields? Sam Darnold? Someone else? I understand the move to trade for Metcalf. GM Omar Khan probably felt the pressure to make some type of massive move to try and take this franchise to the next level. Pittsburgh has continually been in that good not great tier for years. The 9-10 win seasons with no playoff success was surely getting old, but again, this was the wrong order for Pittsburgh to do things. I will be flat out intrigued to see how they approach the QB situation this offseason. Khan is definitely going to try and make a splash, but unless they are able to land a rookie QB to develop, there probably isn't a QB option out there who is going to help Pittsburgh make realistic progress in the AFC, even with DK Metcalf now on the roster. Daniel Jones emerges as Steelers QB option. Pittsburgh with more quarterbacks coming off the market in recent weeks. The group of quarterbacks available for the Pittsburgh Steelers has gotten smaller as time has gone on. Now, one of the options that would have been nearly out of the question this past season due to his lack of performance has arisen as a possible option for the Steelers. Daniel Jones, former New York Giants and Minnesota Vikings quarterback, has now been named a possible option for the Steelers by Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer. In Breer's free agency forecast, he spoke about multiple teams and players and how they are affected by this year's relatively weak free agent class. I could see Pittsburgh kicking the tires on Jones before going back down the road they traveled last year, Breer writes. According to Josina Anderson, Jones is mulling over his options currently. He's still trying to make a decision on where he wants to go, a sources tells Anderson. Jones is an alright option, but lost the starting job in New York due to disappointing play. The Steelers want to improve their offense, not remain complacent. A move like this signals complacency, and that is clear by Breer using the term kicking the tires. A move like this would put the Steelers in the exact same place next offseason as they are currently, and despite the quarterback class for the upcoming draft expected to be better, that is a risk that might not be worth testing their luck a season down the line. As the quarterback free agent group shrinks smaller, the Steelers will have to make a move relatively soon. Many pointed to Fields as their top option, but with the young quarterback signing with the New York Jets, and Sam Darnold heading to the Seattle Seahawks, Jones could be emerging as a sleeper in free agency. And are you a fan? What do you think of the Aaron Rodgers situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.